Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Brown in the house. How you feeling, man?
I feel really good.
This is the first time that you've actually spoke to anybody since the fight in public, obviously. So here in Columbus, we get the first account, firsthand, man, of what it was like in Cincinnati. First of all, it was super cool to be there, number one, because, you know, the last few fights, obviously, you know, everybody in Columbus would try to get everybody hyped and to watch the fights on Fox, whether it be there or on pay-per-view, but most of them have been on Fox and free. You've become kind of like one of the poster boys for the UFC when it comes to their Fox branding, which is kind of cool because generally they're going to pick the most normal, blue-collar, American, straightforward fighters, and I mean, you are kind of, dude, you are morphing into like the next Randi Couture.
Man, to be compared to someone like Randi is pretty amazing. You know,
that's what most people say.
Yeah. My friend from Brazil was telling me that all the magazines and internet down there is comparing me to Vanderlei, and he was the reason he's the reason I started MMA. You know, like.
Is that right? I didn't even know that.
More or less. I mean, you know, like when I first started watching, you know, like I was watching him on Pride, and I would say he was the reason I started, but he was such a huge inspiration when I started.
Those Pride fights were unreal.
Yeah, unreal. Yeah. You know, so that style was what I modeled myself after since the beginning. So that's definitely, you know, I just try not to even really think about that. I just gotta keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I haven't accomplished everything I want to accomplish yet, so. Just got to, you know, keep the ball rolling.
Now, when you got into the cage, you said in a post-fight interview that you felt like you weren't warmed up yet. Kind of explain to people what that means. You were backstage warming up, and then it took a little bit longer to walk out than you anticipated.
Yeah, it took. You know, it's always a bit of a gap in between the warm up and the walkout, but being the main event, it was a really, really long gap. You know, I was standing back there in the hallway for at least 10, 15 minutes. And then, you know, you actually walk out. And that's why I always run out, because I'm trying to get my heart rate back up. I mean, I sat back there long enough, like, you know, I was getting bored, and I was like, you know, my heart rate started going down, my sweat dried up, and even my coaches would tell me after that they were getting bored, and they started looking at each other like, damn, we need to get him fired back up, and so they'd start clapping and stuff, and you know, so that was something. Being you know, it's my first main event, something that I'll just have to learn from and learn how to.
Well, how do you know
figure out a way?
There, you know, like
you don't know.
Situation.
Yeah, I didn't ask anybody for advice. You know, I could have called like Rich or something, Rich Franklin, and said, hey, you know, how do you do that? But you know, I had no idea that it was going to be that long. And then, you know, even when you get up into the cage and everything, you know, the introductions are longer, the cameras are on you longer,
right.
And I'm just standing there like, can we just fight? Like, you know, what's going on?
And that is like literally the difference between you fighting in a main event and fighting second on the card.
Absolutely, it's a huge, huge difference, and the whole timing of when you start warming up and everything is a little different. Whereas, you know, normally if I'm at a certain place on the card, I've had, you know, a lot of fights in the UFC, so I know. You know, the time frame of when I'm going to be done warming up and when I'm going to be actually fighting. So I've got my routine pretty much figured out, and I followed that same routine, and it was...
This was a little disrupted this time.
Extremely disrupted, yeah. So, you know, I don't make it as an excuse.
Oh, you don't need to, because he kicked his ass, so...
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, in my own mind, I don't use it as an excuse, because, you know, I didn't think I performed to my best at all. You know, I think I could have done way better, but
I think it's interesting, like for people to hear, you know, what does go through fighters' minds, because you know, people. The reason I don't like watching MMA with a lot of people is because I just can't stand the armbar all day, bro. Like right there at one, you know.
Why don't you just get up and knock him out?
Yeah, I'm doing that at the press table. Tie kicks. He's like, Randy, that's just a kick. That was just a kick. Leg kick.
I mean, it's just one of those things where, you know, the casual fan, and even people that are into it, like myself, you know, you don't always, you know, I'm not there with you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get to see all of that, you know. And
that's why even when I watch fights, I maintain a little bit of neutrality anytime I'm watching, because I know what it's like to be in there, and I know that it's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
You know, even when it's you know, watching myself fight, I'm like, wow, that's not what I thought it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Like we we were at the bar right before we came over to the venue. And people will see this on the vlog later today once it comes out here in just a couple hours. But we walk into the venue, we sit down with one of our buddies, John, at the bar and his girl. And Randy goes, "Oh my God, look behind us. There's Erick Silva eating."
Silva.
You know, it's just so like in the vlog, like, you know, we pan back kind of like over the shoulder so we get a shot of the enemy.
You know what? It was great. He ate later than you. I already knew what you were doing because Loper had gone to Panera with you before,
Right.
so you ate earlier than he did, and I was like, ha ha, eating
Oh
later.
my God. But it was so funny because he had like one of those like I'm going to South Beach clubbing shirts on, you know, like buttoned up with the big collar and everything. I'm like, is this guy going out or is he going to fight Matt tonight? I'm like, what is going on? But you know, I was giving him a hard time. White
That'll get him.
Yeah.
my head and joking at the bar and, you know, kind of, oh, you know, this guy, I'm gonna jump him and, you know, just making jokes, obviously, you know, because you're my friend. But afterwards, when he's laying motionless in the octagon for 30 minutes plus, people, well, most everybody who wasn't credentialed had left the arena at this point. Erick Silva's still laying motionless in the cage. I mean, I definitely fell for it. I love the sport and the athletes that are involved in the sport. You don't want to see anyone injured long term, and you know the he's married, he's got kids, but he finally did make it to his feet, and the remaining fans that were there, everybody applauded him getting carted off. You know,
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was that long.
Oh man, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like to the point where I'm like, is there something like really wrong here?
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even know that. I mean, that was kind of preoccupied.
Well, that made me
I guess.
mad because that's all that AP ran with, and then like the Dispatch picked up the AP story, and like no one did a story about our Ohio boy kicking ass.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for. So I called him out on Twitter.
So now that you watched the recap of Fight Night 40, why not watch our entire vlog? Yeah, man. Click on me right now and check out our vlog of UFC Cincinnati Fight Night 40. Matt Brown, myself, Randy Razor, Colleen Brown. Man, we get the whole crew in there.
You fucking Corey Taylor, you know I'd fucking piss my pants.
Oh, well, we'll meet him on Thursday for sure.
So that's why I'm like,
I mean, if we get him on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Corey
We'll
Taylor.
have to bring like a portable
That's my
recorder is
fucking
what we'll have to do.
bring it to the Robert
Yeah.
Range so you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they'll want to do it right there.
And that way we don't have to ask him to
Podcast.
come back or whatever.
Yeah. I'll have
And then we can cut all the
no,
clips
we gotta
out.
talk to motherfuckers into coming to the studio.
I'd like them to come to the studio.
Be tough. You think so?
Yeah, they're just so weird about it, man.
I mean,
like,
they probably got
you
so much shit to
Yeah,
do.
like coming in and out. That's why, like, I'm thinking, because like we do everything live on site there. You know what I mean?
It is like if they did that every town they went to, they'd be.
Misty wants to know
Yeah.
if she and her son could come in and watch porn together.